Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a paid advertising. TheOnlyGround.com, onlyground.com is one of the most amazing places for information that I consistently go to. If you guys want to have conversations about our old interviews or even topics that we don't discuss, the group of people that are on the onlyground.com message boards are some of the most brilliant that I have ever come across. Those little like knick-knack facts that we get here and there, that's where a lot of it comes from. Please check out the link in the bio.
Welcome to the Lights Out Podcast. This is Chris Lights Out Lytle, and this is our journey to document the history of mixed martial arts. I have brought with me my friend, the MMA detective Mike Davis, and together we will preserve the history and hear some great stories from the world in the era of the no-holds-barred. Thank you and enjoy.
2025, we are starting with a bang. This gentleman right here is a veteran of almost 50 MMA fights. He's been all over the world, including the Ultimate Fighter and the UFC.
Yes,
this gentleman right here, I got to see fight live a few times. Pete Spratt, ladies and gentlemen.
What's happening, Mike? How's it going?
Smooth. So, dude, you actually have got a pretty interesting career. Like you don't come from like your traditional wrestling background, right, or sambo or something like that. Let's kind of start from your beginnings. Where does it start?
So for me, I mean, it was traditional sports, of course, football, basketball, track and field, stuff like that. I never imagined in a million years that I would go into this type of career. I thought about boxing early on because that was another one of the combat sports that's always been around. But when I first saw the UFC, I was in college. And I specifically said in the dorm room that those guys are crazy and I would never, ever end up doing something like that. And so, yeah, it was weird how that actually unfolded. But yeah, man, just coming up, I played football, basketball, I ran track, got a scholarship for track. And for track and football with Southeastern Oklahoma State. Was looked at by a few NFL teams once my football career was over in college. And yeah, man, I kind of fell into it because I was training karate and kickboxing in the off seasons to keep me in shape for football anyway. So it was just kind of like a natural transition over.
All right. So is it a traditional karate or are we talking?
Well, I have a third degree black belt in American Kempo. So okay. I guess, it was some traditional stuff. I touched a little bit with Taekwondo as a kid because that was one of the, the prominent different fighting arts. That was one of the most prominent was Taekwondo back in the day. So I did a little bit of that as a kid, but it didn't really stick with me because I didn't like to do, the splits and the high kicks and all of that stuff. And Kempo was more hand-based. And so I really enjoyed doing American Kempo. So I pursued that and, got a black belt in that. And then just kind of transitioned over to my coach was like, hey, you want to box? I was like, sure, why not? And then it transitioned to, you want to do some kickboxing too? Sure, why not? And then it transferred into, me falling into an MMA career, yeah.
Okay, so the earliest trainer that I could kind of tie you in with in regards to like the bigger people is Saekson JanJira.
Yeah. I was actually training just before him. If you want to talk about kind of notable trainers that was back here in Texas in my area, was a guy named Ron Van Browning. Okay. And he was associated with Guy Mezger and those guys with the Lions Den. Okay, so while I was training with him, I was actually training with his wife because she was a boxing coach. I was training with Deborah Van Browning, his wife at the time, and she was a boxing coach. So she was my boxing coach for a while when I was at Saekson's. And but yeah, Saekson, he had just moved. I had probably been training in the Dallas area probably about 6 months maybe. And Saekson moved from Hollywood, California to Dallas, to Plano. And my manager hit me up. He was like, hey, man, it's a guy that just moved there. His name is Saekson. If you can find him, you need to go train with him. So I was like, cool. So I got to look and try to find out where Saekson was, found him, stepped into the gym. and then I spent about 8 to 10 years with him.
So Saekson was a 6-time world champion, arguably at the time was probably the number one Muay Thai in the entire Americas. And
Yes.
he was within driving distance of you.
Yes. He was about an hour away from me. So, and then we got together. And it's funny because when I came to the gym, he has this thing about Americans, right? He's like, so he had to test me to see if I really wanted to fight, if I really wanted to train under him. And so he was like, Americans are weak. You can't handle the training. I was like, whatever, man. I said, I'm here to train, so let's get it, And he did some very unorthodox stuff. He trained me like they trained the kids over in Thailand. And, from being tied to a pole and hit to the body with pads and all kinds of crazy stuff, man. He was just doing all kinds of crazy stuff to see if I would quit. And I never did quit.
Call the cops. You know what I mean? It's one of the two.
Yeah. So it was crazy. It was a good time training with him, but at the same time, I was kind of his test subject to see if he wanted to train any other people after that.
Everybody says, never mind him. Even the people that he has trained that open up gyms, those guys are legit. Like, it's kind of like he doesn't really pass the torch unless you pass a sniff test. And there's not many people that can do that.
Yeah. I mean, you got me out of Saxons, you got Anthony Njokwani out of Saxons, you got Chidi Njokwani out of Saxons.
Rashad Couture.
He trained there for a little while. What's his name that was in the UFC? I don't know why. Bird. I don't know why I can't think of his first name, but he fought in the UFC several times. He trained with Saxon for a while. We've had a lot of people come through. I mean, even Maurice Smith trained with him a little bit. Boss Root, that's how I met Bob. I met Boss and Maurice and all those guys. I met those guys through Saxon.
All right, so you started with Guy Mezger. Did you go through the Lion's Den initiation process?
I did not. This was when I got with Guy. It was an association to the Lion's Den, but he was kind of doing his own Lion's Den thing. But I did spend a lot of time training with Trey Telligman, Alex Andrade, all those original guys. And then when I got on the Ultimate Fighter, I met Mikey Burnett. And so all of those guys, I got to train and do a lot of work with all of those guys as well.
How was Trey Telligman?
He was cool. I remember he dropped me with a nasty body shot one time in boxing. I'll never forget that. But I'm like, yo, dude, you twice my size.
He's huge, yeah.
But yeah, now Trey's a great guy, man. He was a great training partner at the time too.
Was okay, so you had Guy Mezger there, you had Trey Telligman. Was Evan Tanner there?
Evan Tanner wasn't there, no.
All right, so
he wasn't there. Pete Rodriguez came through maybe once or twice, so I met him also there, but he didn't spend a lot of time there. I think he kind of had his branch of Lions Den thing going on in maybe California or something like that as well. But I got to train with the Texas Lions Den guys. That's who I spent most of my time training with.
So Texas had some really famous fighters coming out of there outside of Evan Tanner. You had Keith Haring, Steve Nelson, Paul Jones. Did you roll with any of those guys or strike with them?
I did not. One of the most notables that I trained with out of Texas after we ended up fighting was Eve Edwards.
Dude, that guy was talking about a true martial artist, in every sense of the word.
Yeah.
That's Eve Edwards, dude.
Yeah. So after I met him, we spent probably the next 3 to 4 years training together. I would drive every weekend. I would drive 3.5 hours to go train with him every weekend.
Yeah, no, that guy's a brilliant mind. In my opinion, he's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure.
Doubt.
All right, so your first fight on record is March 1999, Power Ring Warriors. Is there anything before that, or is that your actual first fight?
Does it say who my opponent was?
Jeremiah Oniel.
No, that was the first one. That was the first one.
All right, so you play college football, you do traditional martial arts, it kind of seems that people are looking at you going, no, this guy's an athlete. I mean, it's clear, it's as plain as day. Your biggest asset is your ability.
Yes.
And they keep kind of elevating you where you're just like, okay. So your first fight, what's going through your head walking into the ring?
Initially it's just kind of like, yo, I can't believe I'm about to do this, but you know, it is what it is. And for me, it was about, you know, the thing that carried me quite a bit during the early stages was just what you spoke about, was my athleticism. Coming from a football background and being explosive and being strong and very athletic. And you know, I just kind of ran with it, man. If I didn't know anything, I just kind of ran with it. And fighting Jeremiah, I had seen him around the scene anyway, so I was kind of familiar with the guy anyway. And I was just like, yo, he's not going to be big enough. He's not going to be fast enough, and it's just not going to go well for him. And you know, back then we couldn't. It was the modified pancrase rules in Texas, so we couldn't strike the face with an open fist. I mean, with a closed fist. And so, but it's funny, but we can knee a grounded opponent to the head. So it's like, I can't punch you in the face, but I can kick you and knee you while you're. So yeah, so it was crazy. But yeah, I remember dropping him, hitting him with some open palm strikes, softening him up. And I want to say I ended up choking him. I want to say.
It's his rear naked choke.
Yeah. And it was the ugliest rear naked choke I think you would ever see. I don't like it was crazy because I didn't know nothing about the ground. So I was just doing, you know, what I had seen on TV or saw in the gym. And, you know, I actually ended up submitting the guy. It's pretty funny, but we remained cool over the years. So I would see him every now and then. I haven't seen him on the scene, you know, lately, but back then, you know, after we fought, I would see him around the scene a little bit. But yeah, it was cool.
Let's talk about
once I got a taste of it, I was in it.
Really?
Yeah, I was in it. After that high, I was in it.
Is it the same high as playing football in front of thousands of people, or is it different?
No, it's different because that's the unknown. I played football since I was a kid, so there's nothing unknown about, you know, being on the football field. But that and another guy trying to take your head off, I was like, okay, this is different.
So you got thousands of people only looking at you. That's wild. That's wild, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
So yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's different.
Let's talk about what you're doing right now. You still training, teaching people?
I mean, I train, I get in there a little bit when I have to. I'm training people. My partner, Rodrigo Pinheiro, he's my partner in crime. He you know, runs the BJJ side of things, and I run the striking side of things.
He's a solid black belt.
Yeah. Very good black belt. And you know, we've been together since 2008, I think.
Hey, you guys are coming up on 20 years, dude.
Yeah, we've been together since like 2008. And you know, it just happened to be a guy we knew a mutual person. He was like, hey, I know this guy, he just came from Brazil. His name is Rodrigo. Y'all would work well together. He introduced us, and man, it's been history ever since. We've been together ever since, training and teaching and, you know, moving around from location to location. We used to rent a little space at a karate school to train people, and we ended up getting our own spot on Brook Hollow here. It's a small little location, man. All the walls had holes in it. It was crazy. And then we got into another location that was about maybe 4,800 square feet or something like that. And we've just built our newest location that's almost 10,000 square feet. And minus a little red tape, we're trying to get in there very, very soon. But we have a brand new location from the ground up, man, and we're excited to get in there.
Okay, where's the location at?
It's at, so we're in a shopping complex.
Okay.
About 50 yards across the parking lot, we bought a piece of land that we've had for probably 10 years.
And you guys are finally putting it together, huh?
And we're finally putting it together. It's a walk right across the parking lot, probably 50 yards from where we are now. And it's
dude, that's where it's at. That's where it's at.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And it's It's very nice. It's a very nice spot, and you know, if you build it, they'll come. So we're excited about this new opportunity with this new building. We've got so much more space, and it's gonna be crazy.
Well, in terms of stand-up, you'd be hard pressed to find somebody more technical and explosive than that of yourself. And you combine it with a co-teacher he's a solid black belt. That guy's legit.
Yeah, he's legit.
Yeah. Wow. That's good stuff, dude. Good stuff. Big
Yes,
market
sir.
too in Texas. So
Yes.
your first fight is in March of 99. And then your second fight, I know the dates are a little bit off. You got Keith Sutton. You win by KO.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then, like, you're a 50 Fight Club member, but one of the things that boxes that you got to check, you got to fight in a tournament. Got to.
Yes. Especially back then, yes.
Yeah. Even if you're one and done, you got to get you have to have that on your resume to be a true veteran of the sport.
Yeah.
So May 31st, 2000, Renegades Extreme Fighting, you enter a 4-man tournament. Rolando Aguilar and Doug Carpenter are your opponents.
Yes. And Rolando, how Eve and I ended up training together, Rolando was his teammate.
Oh.
And so Eve was in the corner with him, like I'm looking at this guy. I'm like, yo, this guy is huge. Like, he was yoked up. Like, I was like, is he really 175? Because he don't look like it. But I fought Doug Carpenter in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And I will still say today that that's probably one of the toughest fights I ever had was against Doug.
And it's a decision.
Yes, I hit him with everything. Like, yo, I'm like, how is he still standing? I hit this man with everything. And he lasted. And then I'm like, how am I gonna fight again in about another 30 minutes? You know, like, and the dude that I was gonna fight, like, I'm looking at this dude, I'm like, I ain't gonna have nothing for this guy. So Rolando and I we're in.
Who's in your corner? Yeah, who's in your corner?
I had a guy named Rick Arnold in my corner, and he was a local karate guy in my city at that particular time. He was a local karate guy. So
it's hydration, calm down, relax in between fights, adrenaline, all that's going.
Yeah, like these early fights are before I hooked up with Guy or any of Saekson or any of those guys. This is before that. Yeah, this is before then. So we got a Taekwondo guy trying to teach me about NHB at the time, no holds barred. Trying to teach me about no holds barred at the time. So anyhow, I had one thing I had a good right hand, which I had to use open palm. I had a good left hook, and I had a good left kick. Those were the three things that I had. And so
wait. Were you wearing pants or were you wearing shorts?
No, I had the Valley Tudo shorts.
Okay, cool. Usually you guys at that point, you're wearing them karate pants. All right.
I think I had the full contact fighter Valley Tudo shorts.
All right.
So yeah, I'm fighting Rolando, and their game plan, because he was more so a wrestler, so their game plan is to take me down. And he took me down a couple of times, but he couldn't hold me. He started to gas. I started to piece him up with these open hand strikes. And I end up putting his lights out with the left kick to the shin, with my shin to his face. And I hit him twice with that. The first one I hit him and rocked him. And then we reset. And then I hit him again and eggshelled his face. And so he never fought again after that.
No. Like there's certain guys where you look at their record and you see like KOs, but then it's that person's last fight.
Yeah.
And it's consistent. You're like, oh, this motherfucker he can go. He can crack. Yeah.
That adrenaline rush and that win, it was, I still remember it like it was yesterday. Like that was the craziest high that I had experienced athletically.
I have to assume whatever hard drugs people use, there's no way you can match the high of what it is you just experienced that. Like, it can't. There's no bigger high than that.
Yeah, like I'm thinking about it now. It's like chills. I remember I kicked him and I just turned and I threw my hands up and walked off. I'm like, it's over, baby. I'm like, this thing is over. And it was the coolest thing, man. I got video. I still got video of it, man. It was,
You should show it online, man. You should show it on YouTube.
I will. It might already be on there. I have to look.
I don't know. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I'll throw it up.
The issue that you have that fight is his cornerman, Eve Edwards. Eve's looking at that and he's doing the math equation, and all he's doing is, yeah, and that's your next opponent, Eve Edwards.
Guess who? I was going to say, guess who I fought the next tournament?
Yeah, his request, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%, and so that fight was kind of weird. It was kind of weird because it was almost inevitable, like we were going to end up training together. So it was like, he really didn't do anything to really try to physically hurt me in the fight. And I didn't as well. Like, usually I would come out with a reckless abandon and try to really just knock somebody's head off. But I think it was so much respect there for each other, because I had already known his background. He had already fought. He had already fought in Japan and all of that stuff. So I'm like, how am I ended up fighting this dude? I got like 3 fights. Like, this dude's got 15, 16 fights. Like, how am I ended up fighting this guy? But yeah, it was the weirdest thing on how that fight took place. And like, I really didn't try to load up and hit him with stuff. It could have been for fear of making a mistake or something like that. And him toward me was a little, because he ended up submitting me, but it wasn't like, it wasn't like he really, tried to hurt me or pound me out or whatever the case may be. Like it was weird. And then I want to say maybe a month or two later, we were training together. We were teammates.
That's a good move.
It was the weirdest thing. Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. It was the weirdest thing. But I was like, yo, we can get together and train. And that's kind of what happened after fighting Eve.
So when you got 50 fights, one, you don't really ever call off. You don't call in, especially when you've been injured. You're going in there no matter what. But the people that you encounter, oftentimes, one, they're normally not in your social circle, but sometimes they end up in different places. Cedric Marks, November 7, 2000.
Yes.
Serial killer, Cedric Marks.
Yo, man. Crazy to think about. But that fight, man, he was known. He was more known than I was. He was
for sure.
Scene. You know what I'm saying? I didn't care. I felt like I was training with one of the best dudes that you could ever train with in Eve. And I was like, yo, let's do it. It's whatever, man. And he swear the last time I talked to him, he swears to this day he lost the fight because I accidentally poked him in the eye. Like, come on, dude. Like, I want to say I might have submitted him. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's a sub. It was a tournament. Yapon Sayavanga as well. Yep. So it's your second tournament.
Yep. I mad at him and pounded him out with open strikes.
What were you getting paid for those?
It might have been $1,000 to win.
You fighting twice?
Yeah, it might have been $1,000 to win.
Maybe.
When I fought Keith Sutton, I got $50.
Yeah, that's just how it goes, man.
And dude, $50. Guess who was the promoter?
For Keith Sutton, who?
When I fought Keith Sutton, guess who was the promoter for that show?
I don't know who.
Shannon Rich.
Oh no, what? You're lucky you even got paid, bro.
Guess who else was there? Don Fry and Fujita from Pride fighting under an alias Sato.
Really?
Yeah.
If you really look here, you fought in Frank Shamrock's Bushido, January 18, 2001. Dude, Jason House, future UFC veteran. He's
teammate.
Dude, Jason House is legit. He's in Kansas City right now.
Oh, yeah? No, I think it might be two different ones.
Jason House, the guy that from California that is training with Krause, wrestler?
No. This is another Jason House that was from Dallas, but he trained when I ended up training with Saekson. He came to Saekson's.
Okay.
So he ended up being a teammate. Yeah, this is another Jason House.
This is the same card where Josh Thompson got stiffed on. Did you get paid by Frank Shamrock?
I got paid.
Huh.
Yeah, I got paid.
Yeah,
Eve
there
got
was.
paid. Yeah, I got paid.
That's interesting. Yeah, you got Jason House by KO, and then you go to Reality Combat Fighting, Rich Clementi. It was owner of that event. And Clementi's kind of like one of those guys where he hears, oh, this guy's a striker. Okay. And he's going to want to stand with you, which he found out.
Yeah. I clocked him pretty clean on, might have been his right eye. Doctor stepped in, pretty much stopped that. But back then you could hold on to the fence. So he was trying to roll for an ankle lock or something or whatever. I'm standing up holding on to the fence and I'm just pounding. I'm trying to pound his head through the mat. All you can hear is boom, boom, boom.
Oof.
Where his head is on the mat, but I'm trying to pound his head through the mat. And then the referee jumped in, stopped it. He had a bad cut on his eye, and they stopped it from there. But yeah, Rich was tough, man.
Yeah, when you go into somebody else's backyard, you gotta figure you're gonna have to finish the guy to get that W.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'd never been to Houma, Louisiana. Like I jumped in the car with one of my homeboys, and we're driving, and as we're driving and getting deeper into this swamp area, I'm looking at my homeboy. My homeboy's a white guy. I'm looking at my homeboy. I'm like, yo, man, I'm not feeling real comfortable right now. I said, we gonna get pulled up and they're gonna be like, you boys ain't from around here, is you? No, sir, I ain't from around here. But yeah, man, it was cool. We fought in a bar. They set up a cage in a bar, and that's where we fought. And it was a good experience. I was glad to get out of there.
You hook up with Sven Bean right around this time. Was Cruz Chacon is your next opponent? I know Sven is your future manager.
Yep.
How do you and Sven meet?
What was it? MMA? What was the big social media platform back then?
MixedMartialArts.com. MMA.tv.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we met there. I want to say he was looking for some fighters for his Ring of Fire promotion. And I jumped on there. I was like, yo, I'm down to come to Denver and fight. And so that's how I ended up hooking up with him. He booked me to fight in his ring. I don't know if it was the first one, but he booked me to fight in Ring of Fire where I fought Cruz Chacon. And then after that, of course, I met Dwayne Ludwig. He was managing Dwayne. So I'm like, okay.
Did you know Dwayne? Did you know Dwayne prior?
I didn't know him prior. No.
Man, that guy's legit too. Dude.
I knew who he was, but I didn't know him. And so, I was like, okay, it looks like he's, got Dwayne's career going in the right direction. So I need somebody to help me with this stuff. And so after I fought that Ring of Fire with him, we ended up hooking up. I ended up, asking him to be my manager.
Yeah, Cruz Chacon, obviously came on the wrong side of a decision. Hector Garza, you were like 2 losses in a row at one point.
All right, hold on. So the decision to Cruz, they screwed me. That was a hometown decision. Like I had this guy beaten and bloodied to a pulp, and they gave decision to this. I didn't have a mark on me.
You know what? The kind of the tell on that is, well, I went to Ring of Fire, I lost, but now the promoter's managing me. No. You won the fight. You just took the L. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was great. But I did get to avenge that in a kickboxing match.
Jeremy Bennett fight got canceled. That was Frank Shamrock's second fight. I know people were claiming there was some money laundering. There was some crazy shit going on there. Everybody
I heard about it. Yeah.
And then Jay Jack, you're back in Denver. Did Elevation mess with you at all?
Elevation. Not in Denver.
Really?
Yeah, not in Denver. But when I went up to Cripple Creek, about, I don't know, maybe 5,000 feet higher. Yeah.
Holy shit.
I was like, yeah, I got to get him out of here. I ain't gonna make it past one round.
And Ronald Jhun, too. You flew out to Hawaii to fight
Yes.
Ronald Jhun. Dude, that guy's
Yes.
at this time, stud.
10 days notice.
Oh, come on, dude.
10 days. They were
Yeah.
looking, I saw it on mixedmartialarts.com. They were looking for somebody to fight him. I was like, yo, I'll fight him. 10 days notice.
That ain't the fight to take on short notice.
Hey, I almost got him out of there.
It paid.
They
too.
stopped it. They stopped it early though. He needs me. I go down right, and then they jump in like it's over. It's like, yo, you know we do fight on the ground too, right? But yeah, they jumped in and stopped it early. But it was a great fight. It was a great fight.
So, like, when you talk about your power, Brian Sleeman, Gladiator Challenge, that's your next opponent, November 4th, 2001. Chris Lieben hits like a Mack truck. There's no doubt about that. Chris Lieben tagged this guy about 15 to 20 times and had to give him several low blows in order to kind of back him off because of how much of a punch he could take. You knocked him out. You got him out in the first round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's legit, dude. That's legit.
I appreciate it. You know, I mean, it's weird. Like even today, I don't really like. I've got probably 4 people fighting in February, and I haven't looked at their opponent at all yet. Like even then, when I got into this game, I really didn't I only kept up with people that I liked.
Okay.
Like Sleeman, I had heard about him, but I never really looked up anything about him. I was just like, it's gonna be one or two things. Either he's gonna win by submission or he's getting knocked out. It's gonna be one of the two. It's not gonna be an in-between. And I remember seeing him on the big screen as he was coming out. And the way he was staring at me from the back, I see his face on the screen. And I'm just like, you finna get fucked up, dude.
Sleeman will stand with you. He'll trade with you, dude.
Yeah. Like it angered me that he was like I'm like, nah, you finna get fucked up, dude. And yeah, man, I tried to kill that man. He took a shin kick to the face too.
Dude, Lieben had issues getting him out of there. Lieben had to kick him in the balls. Referees twice on 2 occasions in order to stop him.
Yeah. But yeah, man, that was cool. That was one of the first times I actually had Saekson in my corner. And when I knocked him out, man, I was excited. I was walking around. I was about to act the ass. Saekson says, no, don't act like crazy black guy. I'm like, what?
They say Saekson's got a real good personality, man. Everybody.
Yeah, he does, man. Yeah, it was funny. He was like, no, don't act like crazy black guy. I'm like, yo, man, I'm excited. I just got this dude out of here. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they say he's like, was he hard of hearing in one ear? So it's like he's even got like a speech impediment as well on top of the heavy accent.
Saekson be making people think he a little crazy, a little off. I mean, he is, but that's more so. He's just fucking with people.
First time I got to see fight live, Steve Berger at the Hammond Civic Center. Berger's a 500 fighter, but man, is he a tough son of a bitch, dude.
Yeah, definitely tough.
Can take a punch.
What was that? That was the Ultimate Athlete show, yeah?
Dude, it was. That was like pre-riot. Like the number 2 had the riot.
Yes. That was the first time I had a broken nose.
Really?
Yes. It was the first and only time, actually. I just didn't, not having experienced that, I just didn't know how to react to that or recover. Like when I saw the blood running down my nose and it's not stopping, I'm like, yo, like this is different. Like, oh, I don't think I can go. Which I probably could have, but I think it was just a shock of that happening because I'd never really been hit. And he caught me with a knee in the nose. And it just kind of threw me off. And they stepped in and stopped it. I was like, yo, this is different. I don't know if I like that. But that's probably the first time I questioned on whether or not I wanted to continue.
Okay, so UFC 37.5, it's a last minute UFC show for Fox. I think it was Fox.
Mm-hmm.
The Fox or Spike?
Best damn sports show.
Best damn sports show. That's what it was.
Yes.
So coming off of a loss, they call you to fight Zach Lytle, future Bellator matchmaker, Zach Lytle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Were you surprised you got that phone call?
Yeah, I was. But excited. I think Eve was on that card too, so we were stable mates.
He was in your corner too.
Yeah. So it kind of made sense business wise with the UFC. We can get two guys out of the same camp and get them out here, and so yeah, it was cool. But I was like, yeah, we got another wrestler. So
That's
here we go.
Yeah, he had a couple future training partners in his corner. Chris Brennan, Sean Solis, Aaron Brink, and Tito Ortiz all walked him out.
Yeah.
So Solis and Brennan are future training partners of yourself.
Yes. And I coached Brennan too. I coached him in Pride.
You were in his corner in Pride, right? Okay.
Yes. I trained him for that particular fight.
Were you in the same camp as Rampage then with Brennan?
No, Rampage wasn't there.
Okay.
Rampage, it was me and the brothers and a few other people. I forget who the guy was, but it was the smaller show. It was the Pride Bushido show.
Okay.
It wasn't the Pride FC. But yeah, I had a good time training with Chris and those guys, and Saul was my guy.
Yes. Saul Solis, not Sean. Saul Solis. I apologize. You win by armbar, and dude, that's an incredible accomplishment. Just to make it to the UFC is amazing.
Yeah.
To get your hand raised, you're 1%.
Yeah, and it's funny because coming out of saying, we're calling home or whatever, they called to check on us, and it was like said we had a. So it was like they called Saul and he was like, yeah, we had one knockout and one submission. And it was like, oh, Eve got the submission? It was like, no, Pete did, which was a big surprise because they know I wasn't going in there trying to get no submission. But it's funny about that submission, the guy that ref my fight, I think it was Kip Kohler. He ref my fight.
It was Kip, yeah.
The day before, he was my training partner. He was helping me train in the training room the day before the fight. And I worked that specific spin off the cage armbar with him for about 30 minutes the night before the UFC. So when I felt Zach's hand behind my head, I'm like, I was just here last night. I feel this position. I put my foot on the cage, spun, and there it was right there. It was something that we had just worked on 24 hours prior.
Now, you talk about getting high from a fight. Dude, last minute, wrestler, all-star corner, you pull off, something that you don't have on your record, something that they definitely didn't expect.
Yep, exactly.
Rogan went nuts. Yeah, Joe Rogan went crazy.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. Good
Did you get along with the UFC matchmaker Joe Silva?
I was
okay.
Okay with it. I have to tell you about the story on him when I had my last fight with the UFC. But I was okay with him. I didn't have any differences with him or nothing like that because I really didn't deal with him much directly anyway. So Sven handled all of that. So I really didn't deal with him directly too much.
All right, we'll get to that. So yeah, Carlos Newton. Dude, Carlos Newton, like they didn't do you any favors.
Bro, he's a former champ. He was just the champ before I fought him.
Literally.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Did they up your pay for that or was it the same?
No, it was the same. I think I fought him for 4,000 plus 4,000.
Yeah. So the guy that fought him before in the world title fight's probably getting 12, 15, 15, but you're going to make 4.
You know, I tried to get out of that fight.
Should have.
I was like, yo, I don't want to fight the former champ.
No, not yet.
You know who I wanted to fight at that particular time?
Who's that?
The guy that was making all the noise, the young guy that was making all the noise at the time.
Your next opponent, Robbie Lawler.
I want to fight Robbie Lawler. They told me, no, you can't have that fight. And if you don't fight Carlos, we don't know when we'll have you back.
Oh, it's so fucked up.
So now what do?
Wait. So now you got Carlos Newton. And dude, Mount Rushmore of Canada, he's on it. He's on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hall of Famer? Absolutely. But like he's a guy that doesn't throw a lot of strikes. He's a guy that gets you down. And even if he gets you down and he's able to strike, sometimes he won't. He'll just try to go and get the submission.
Yeah. So you know, I didn't want that fight, but at that particular time, it's like they can have me on the shelf. Yeah, they can have me on the shelf. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right, whatever. I got a puncher's chance. I'm pretty athletic. Maybe I can make something happen. You know what I'm saying? But of course, I ended up losing the fight.
It's not a good matchup. It's really not.
Not at all. Not at all. But I didn't have a choice.
Even for them, like, what are you guys going to get out of this?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to kill a rising star, and you're going to pad a record of a guy where, dude, you're only Pete Spratt. You're one guy in one fight in UFC. It doesn't really help him either.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it really doesn't. It's dumb for both
I
of
felt
you.
some type of way about that. You know, I felt a way about that. That's the second fight. Had a 3-fight deal. That's the second fight on my contract.
And dude, Robbie at this point is a superstar.
Yeah.
Like he's moving the needle. You get him, UFC 42, April 25th, 2003.
Mm-hmm.
You requested that.
I did.
What was the reason?
Because I knew I could beat him. There was no doubt in my mind 100% that I was going to beat him. Say, he's a good striker. He's powerful. I said, but he doesn't have the technique that I have. He doesn't have the skill that I have. I'm going to beat him.
I think a lot of people lost that fight before they even stepped into the ring.
Yeah.
Like he was very intimidating.
He was a monster.
He was very intimidating.
Yeah, he was a monster.
When was the last time you watched that fight?
I would say I may have watched that fight maybe a few months ago. Okay. Actually.
In that first round, something takes place where he holds his hip. Like it was bothering him before he quit in that second round.
Yeah.
When did you know he was compromised?
I knew he was compromised probably. There was one where I kicked him and he kind of stumbled. And I knew, I was like, okay. I'm like, all right, he hurt. So but the thing, like, I swear I probably kicked during camp. I probably kicked that inside low kick 1,000 times.
Okay. So like the UFC is still evolving. Like people at home got to kind of understand. There's a whole bunch of new things that come, and once it gets seen, it kind of takes off. That inside leg kick, nobody was using like you did that fight. Like even Edwards used it, and so did you. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I kicked the pad because that was our game plan. We were going to kick his leg, and that's top style. They're going to kick shin to shin. They don't care. And I didn't care I didn't care if I hit bone on bone, bone to muscle. I didn't care. I conditioned my leg to completely destroy his front leg. And it came to fruition. It came to fruition. I think the UFC was thinking, okay, it's the last fight on his deal. We'll give him the fight he wants. Robbie Lawler's killing everybody. Robbie beats him. We don't have to re-sign him.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah.
You know, with Robbie, he hit like a Mack truck, but it wasn't fast. Like he didn't have hand speed. Like he doesn't. Yeah. But it's hard.
Yeah.
He shot for a takedown. He was the first person going for a takedown. Like he respected your stand-up, and it was in his head that he knew there could be problems.
Yeah. But they didn't think, they also probably didn't think that I was gonna be as
surgical.
They probably thought I was just gonna
surgical.
I was just gonna lay there. You know, I was gonna defend and try to get my spots to where I can explode and get out, because you know I was pretty explosive back then.
You had Hackelman, Dwayne Ludwig, and Sven Bean in your corner.
Is that who was in there? I don't know if Dwayne was in there or not.
Ludwig? He walked. He definitely walked.
He walked me out. Yeah,
okay,
he walked me out, but I don't think he was in the corner.
Okay. Did you train with John Hackelman?
No, Saekson was there. It was Saekson, Hackelman, and Sven. That's who was in my corner.
Okay. How did you connect with Hackelman?
How did I end up with him? You know, I don't know.
Did he just kind of see him in the locker room? Hey, dude, we need some help.
No. We were cool before that. No, we were cool before that. I think probably just from a couple of prior UFCs. But we were cool before that for me to even ask him if he would step in and help me on the corner. Did
you train with Liddell at that point?
No, I really didn't get any training there with Chuck
or Glover.
Well, I knew. All right, so let's jump back real quick. When I fought Ronald.
Okay. Oh, dude. Well, Hackelman was there for sure.
Yeah. But guess who was in my corner?
I didn't see it.
Tito and Chuck.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Tito and Chuck were my cornermen. Chuck was there. He had somebody fighting on the card. So I already knew Chuck. Then I can't remember how we met though, but I already knew him then. And I hit up Tito. I was like, yo, you want to go to Hawaii next weekend? He was like, what's up? I said, I'm fighting. He's like, all right, cool, I'll be there. And so he flew to Hawaii to come.
That's badass. That's good shit.
So I ended up when they were cool, I had Tito and Chuck in my corner when I fought Ronald. So probably back then is where my relationship with Hackelman started.
Were you training with Saul Solis at this time too?
Yes. And Saul and Tito.
Oh yeah.
Were cool.
Tito made him famous in the MMA world.
Yeah. So that's how I ended up developing a relationship with Tito anyway.
How would you describe your relationship with Saul?
Brother, mentor, sometimes father figure when needed, RIP. But that was my dude, man. If I had any issues or any questions about the sport, or I'm dealing with fighters and I'm having some issues with some fighters or whatever, that he was my go-to. If I needed somebody to talk to, he was my go-to guy.
How long did you work out with him for?
Oh gosh. Shortly after, well, of course I met him at Renegades because he was the Renegades promoter. So that's how I met him. And then shortly after Eve and I fought, we two also started training with Saul at that time. So right around that time, up until my very last fight when I came out of retirement and fought at 46 years of age, Saul was in my corner for my last fight as well.
Were you with Eve Edwards when he was training with Lewis Wood and Saul Solis?
Yes.
So when we interviewed Eve, he fought Nick Aguilar, and he had Saul and Lewis Wood in the corner. And when you see somebody with two head trainers of the same kind of discipline, usually means there's problems. Like there's only one coach. There's only one coach, dude. And like
that's
Eve,
when.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's when Eve was really, really, really heavy into boxing. That's why Lewis was there. Eve spent a lot of time, because I think Lewis might have wanted Eve to box for him. So they spent quite a bit of time together. So Yeah, I remember that for sure because he did spend a lot of time with Lewis training.
And he had like two father figures, and then he had to choose. You can only have one. You got to go one way or the other.
Yeah.
Did you train with Lewis Wood at all?
Not a lot, few times, but not too much. Because again, I didn't live in the area, so
I respect him.
I would only be able to get down for the weekends and train.
Yeah, I respect him a lot, dude. I respect him a lot.
Yeah.
So you beat Robbie Lawler. What's the talk backstage like with the UFC? You killed their superstar.
So the next thing is like, yo, so your next fight is a fight versus Matt Hughes for the title. This your next fight. Oh, now you really want me to go back and fight another wrestler? The current champ. I go from.
It's an honor.
I go from one,
but
yeah, I go from one fight in to the former champ to the rising superstar to the current champ.
Dude, if they matched you right, if they just, let's take our time.
A very long career.
Dude, it's whatever they did with Robbie Lawler. Look, I mean, all you gotta do is do this. Give him the same opponents.
Yeah.
Give him the same opponents, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
So that was the next fight. And I don't know if this is for sure, but this is what I heard. I heard that Matt was making 50 plus 50 for that fight.
Uh-huh.
Their offer for me for the fight was 8,000 plus 8,000.
It's so insulting. It's like, all right, we went 4-4, 6-6. We're just gonna maintain the integrity of your contract, and we're gonna put you in a title fight against guys.
No. 2-2.
Okay.
4-4.
Oh, they did you a solid, dude. Oh, dude, they did you a super solid, bro. What am I talking about?
2-2, 4-4, 6-6. But I lost it 4-4, so I had to stay at 4-4 on my third fight. So they offered me 8-8 as if I would have won the third fight, which would have been 6-6.
At some point, you gotta look him in the eyes and go, man, I'm trying not to pump gas in like in between training. Give me a little, give me something. Yeah.
So we countered with 25 to show plus 8 to win. Half of his
more than
guarantee.
fair. More than fair.
Yeah.
And his guarantee was public. I mean, everybody kind of knew.
Yeah.
And that's not including the bonuses, because Dana was bonusing certain people at this time.
Yeah.
And Matt definitely fell into that category.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they said no.
And you're shelved.
Yeah. They said no. So I said, kick rocks.
Got to.
Because I mean, you treated me like a hoe one time with Carlos. Do this or you don't fight. Okay. I did it. Now you want to try to do it again and force me into another situation again? I'm not built like that. You're not going to continue to treat me like that. I'm out.
Now you gave him one.
Y'all no more.
Dude, you gave him one. And dude, that's the professional thing to do. It really is.
Yeah.
Give him one, but you can't give him two. No.
Yeah. I said, nah, I'm out. But, I did the politically correct thing. I said, yo, I'm not ready to fight a wrestler, blah, blah, blah. I gave that spiel. But in reality, I was like, fuck y'all. Y'all not going to treat me like a hoe, and I'm not fighting for y'all. I'm out. That's what was on the inside. But to try to, keep some type of relationship, I just said I wasn't ready to fight Hughes.
Pete, I'm going to tell you what, dude. On the surface level, you appear to be somebody that's dealt with some adversity growing up. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You went to bed hungry on more than one occasion, not by your choice.
Yeah.
For you to handle yourself that way, that household education was real strong in that where you grew up. And it's as plain as day, man.
Yeah. Yeah, like No, you're not finna continue to trick me out, man. I'm just not built like that. There's some people that will accept that, but I ain't built like that, man. I'm not doing that. So, a lot of people say, they got that the Mixed Martial Arts Association that, they're doing out with the antitrust lawsuit and all of that stuff. And, a lot of those guys have told me, man, you were before your time, because not a lot of people would say, nah, you're not gonna treat me like that. I'm not gonna keep dealing with you. But I have an integrity about myself. You're not gonna do that to me, man. I'm sorry. Like, go do that to the next man.
Yeah, no, you're not easily broken. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you part ways with the UFC. And dude, that's on them. What they should have done was renegotiate your contract before your last fight. They did it with everybody they wanted to keep.
Oh, yeah, they thought I was out of there, though.
Yeah.
Robbie finna get him out of here. So I just got to throw a wrench in that motor.
Yeah, pre-write that check. Dude's riding out, man. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Well, they do you no favors. November 29, 2003. The original date of this fight was September 6th, and it gets pushed to November 29th. Georges St-Pierre in Canada. Dude, you guys got to look at this run. All right. You got Robbie, you got former champion Carlos Newton, future champion Robbie Lawler, future champion Georges St-Pierre. Like, dude, you got three murderers right in a row.
Yeah. So that particular fight, so he pulled out that first date. He pulled out, I want to say, the day before weigh-ins.
Were you there in Canada?
I was there.
No shit.
Yeah, I was already there. He had some staff or something. Yeah, he had some staff or something in his knee that didn't clear up. And I was already there. And
did they try to throw other opponents your way?
No. That was the fight that they wanted. And it's funny because the next date that we were scheduled for, it's like this type of dude I am. The next date that they were scheduled for, the UFC called me before that fight to fight Carl Parisian.
Good fight.
So the type of person I was like, you know what? I would love to do that.
At what money?
Yeah, no, I ain't asked because I already knew I wasn't gonna do it. I said I would love to do that. I would love to come back and do that. I said, but I'm committed to this promotion, to TKO, to fight this guy. And I'm a man of my word, so I'm gonna fight this guy. And that fight ended up turning into, if I win, I re-sign. If I lose, they sign the guy that beat me. So that's how George ended up getting in.
You refuse.
Oh, and mind you, no corner. I didn't have a corner.
Oh, dude, you refused the hand raising ceremony. What happened? What was going on with that?
Well, like I just
pissed.
Yes.
Yeah, no corner. Switched to pull the carpet underneath me. He's going to the UFC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, it is what it is. Like, when I make a commitment, I usually keep that commitment.
For sure.
And I was just like my Sven, because Sven was supposed to corner me. For some reason, they wouldn't let him in. Yeah, for some reason, he couldn't get in the country.
Dude, Canada's border is one of the most difficult places to cross into.
Yeah, if I wasn't on the poster, they wasn't going to let me in. That's what happened the first time for the first date. I get there to immigration, and I'm like, yo, I'm here for a fight. Here's the fight poster. And they were like, okay, but if you come back here, you're going to have to do all of this other stuff before you come back, which I had to do a whole bunch of other paperwork before I came back for the next date. But yeah, Sven didn't get in for some reason. And J Jack from his girlfriend was fighting. So I knew him from fighting him. I was like, yo, can you and your girl corner me? I ain't got no corner. Yeah.
Oh, that's ugly.
Yeah, there's several fights that I've fought that I didn't have a corner.
How was Stephan Patry to deal with, the promoter?
He was cool. I didn't have no issues with that guy. Me and that guy were cool. But they knew right off rip that I wasn't the dude to be playing no games with. Like
he definitely played games with certain people, but certain people he didn't.
I was straight up. I was straight up, and I expected him to be straight up. So we had a good relationship.
That's fair.
I wasn't playing no games. Yeah.
Speaking of murderers, the next promoter, reality shoot fighting, Randy Greenman is a promoter.
Okay.
He fought Chris Lytle that night. I was here at this one too. Do you remember the promoter?
No.
Real heavy set dude. Bikers killed his ass. No, shortly after this fight. Shortly after this fight.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
No, what?
Dude,
I got paid.
One of the biggest coke dealers in all of like the Midwest. He may have been the Midwest biggest coke dealer.
That's crazy.
And he was washing his money through this show.
Wow. Dude, yeah, I never knew that.
Dude, look at the cards. Like, what the fuck? Carol Parisian's in the audience? Just hanging out?
Wow.
Yeah, you had Lytle that night.
Wow.
I thought it was going to be a stand-up war. He went right for a takedown.
Oh, of course he did.
I can't blame him.
Like most of them. Yeah, like most of them. Of course he did. But once again, no corner.
That ain't right.
I knew Shoney. I'm coming.
That's my guy.
I'm coming out that way to fight. Can you make it to this show and corner me? Yeah, man, I got you. Yeah. Shoney there by myself.
Yeah. Wow.
Yo, man, I was what they call Ronin. Man, I was a Ronin. I was just out there. Call this guy. He'll fight and he'll bring every bit of it.
John Cronk is your next opponent, September 18th, 2004. John Cronk, for those people that don't know, he is known for street fighting, a little bit of mental illness, and racist as fuck. He'll have like a black dude. He'll have a black dude in his corner dropping N-bombs at people.
Bro, I did not like that guy.
Crazy.
Like that guy. Yeah. I got to fight him twice too.
A little controversy on that first one.
Yeah. I mean, never mind the rings he had up under his hand wraps.
wait. So let's set the table on this. You guys fight. It's incredibly one-sided. He throws a Hail Mary punch, connects.
Yeah.
Afterward, your corner, Chris Brennan, kind of, man, there's something going on with this. Brennan's a smart fucking dude, man. He's legit smart.
Yeah.
Sees that he's wearing rings on every single finger.
Yes. Yeah, I had no idea. But yeah, cut his wraps off, took his wraps off, rings on his fingers. Yeah. Supposedly that was supposed to be changed to a no contest. It never was. Yeah, it never was. What was the guy's name that was promoting at the time? I want to say Clint something.
It was in California. Yeah, it was Venom.
Yeah.
I don't know who that promoter is.
Yeah, I want to say it was Clint. I had met him. He was doing some media marketing for some other promotion at one particular time, and he ended up getting involved with this promotion and helping to promote and matchmake this particular show. But I hit them up. I was like, yo, like this dude had rings under his fucking wraps, man. Like what the fuck? He was like, oh, we'll get it changed to a no contest, but it never happened. But I got to fight him again.
Yeah, Brennan slapped him in the ring.
Yeah.
After.
Yeah. I don't remember much of that because I was pretty dazed after that.
Yeah, but you're not that guy though. Like you can take a punch. Like you've never had that. Oh man, he's chinny.
Yeah. No, not till I got older. Yeah.
Cronk, you get that win back. You go to Japan. Wataru Takahashi. That's a big deal too, man. You win by KO in Japan. I thought you were going to be a superstar over there.
I would have liked to have that opportunity, but I don't know what really happened because I would have loved to go fight over there several more times. I thought I had a, I had a very good showing at Shootboxing Japan that particular fight. So, but it was cool. Like they had the kickboxing stuff on that particular card too. It was MMA and kickboxing or shoot boxing or whatever they had. But it was a cool card.
UFC gives you a call shortly after that. The Ultimate Fighter season 1 finale. They give you Josh Koscheck. How does that relationship start again?
I ain't gonna lie, I don't even remember. You know what? Actually, now that you even say Josh's name, I had forgotten all about that. Because I know I was training with Guy at the time, and yeah, I think they hit up Sven. They're like, yo, you want to take this fight? I'm like, cool, whatever. Because at that particular point, I didn't care. I was just like, yeah, I'll fight whoever. It don't matter. And with him, you know, it's like I had seen him fight. I'm like, all right, he might strike a little bit, but of course he didn't want that either. But yeah, that particular time in my career is kind of a blur. Because I don't even remember. I honestly don't remember how I ended up coming back on short notice and fighting Josh. But I knew Guy Mezger was in my corner at the time. But that much I remember. But I don't even remember how that ended up happening, to be quite honest.
What was your experiences like with Guy?
It's cool, man. It's like a brother. Like all those hanging with I did a lot of stuff. I did a movie with him. We did a. Did you see what was the TV show? Bully Beat Down.
Okay.
we did the pilot to that, and it was called American Badass. Me, Trey, Travis Luter, Alex Andrade, Mikey Burnett. We shot the whole trailer, or we shot the pilot for that called American Badass, which later became Bully Beat Down.
Dude, Luter is an incredibly underappreciated like grappler and fighter. Luter is legit.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Like that dude knows his stuff, and he was different. He was different on the show, man. It's like some of the stuff that he would do, and because we nicknamed him Serial Killer on the show because it was just. He just kind of reminded you of a serial killer. He really didn't interact a lot with anybody. He was kind of to himself, and he didn't really say much. So we ended up nicknaming his ass serial killer while we were on the show.
Matt Brown is your next opponent after that, future UFC veteran. And Matt Brown is at this point, he is George Gurzel, Rich Franklin. It's that whole Kerry Shaw. It's that whole Cincinnati crew. Mm-hmm. Those guys didn't respect Matt. They used to use him as kind of like bait in order to get a local ticket seller, a win, and then they can get on a card with a reasonable matchup. But Matt Brown's tough as fuck.
Yeah. He was tough when I fought him, and it's funny because that was actually my retirement fight. I had been gone a couple of years doing kickboxing overseas. Went to Australia and fought a few times. Went to Turkey.
Oh, cool.
Went to France to fight. So I was kickboxing the last couple of years. And when I took this fight, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be my last one. And I'm gonna call it. So I get a call from Sven at weigh-in. It was like, yo, Ultimate Fighter call, want to know if you wanted to do it. Like, what?
That's season 4.
Man, I'm like, man, I'm about to retire. He's like, well, they call because they were having a hard time finding former fighters or former UFC vets to get on the show, whether it was something to do with medicals or it was a bunch of stuff they were having issues with getting people in.
Mikey Burnett shouldn't have been on that show. Talking about medicals, like he was barely keeping it together at that point.
Yeah. And so I was like, I told Sven, I said, let me call you back. I need to call somebody. I called Saul because he was just on the season prior. He was on season 3 with Tito as one of the coaches.
Smart move.
So I was like, yo, Saul, I was like, yo, Sven just called me, asked me to do the Ultimate Fighter. I said, what do you think? I was like, you was just on the last season. What do you think? He said, if you don't listen to anything else I ever tell you in life, he said, do the show. I said, are you sure? He said, bro, trust me, do the show. I was like, all right. So I hung up, called Sven. I was like, all right, yeah, we'll tell him I'll do it. And then I got a call from one of the reps. It's like, they was like, we know you're fighting tomorrow. Don't get your face messed up. And we're going to fly you out on Tuesday. You're going to do all your stuff. And then that following Tuesday, I flew out that next Tuesday, and I was in Vegas for 6 weeks recording.
Oh, man. So this actually took place before the Matt Brown fight.
Yes.
How would you describe your experience? Oh, wait, okay. Was it medicals or was it an interview? Or it was you were for sure in?
Interview. When I went that Tuesday, it was my interview. After my interview, straight to medicals.
Oh, so that shit was a wrap. They just needed a little bit of background so they can, when they press release it, it was just more for their media.
Yeah. So I was pretty much in. I think I was the last guy to get called in too.
How would you describe your experience there?
It was the worst experience of my life. Like, it was cool being able to be a full-time fighter and not have to worry about anything.
First time ever in your life.
Yes, that was the cool part about it. The bad part about it was the no outside contact. No newspapers, no magazines, like you literally no outside world contact. Except you had a phone call once a week home. That was the toughest part of that. But the training was great. Training partners, great. The experience, great.
Some people describe it like it's like prison. Like, man, it's rough.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah. I mean, you got one phone call a week home. But, in prison, you can't put down a grocery list and have somebody go pick it up for you.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
What kind of noodles you need?
Yeah. I need this, I need that, I need that. Okay, making a grocery run. Anybody need anything? Here's my list. But it could be very mentally tough. But that was the only hard part for me was, just being away from the outside communication. But
what was it like living with Jeremy Jackson?
Honestly, he wasn't there long enough. Because he got I want to say he got booted out like 2 weeks in. They took us. GSP got it to where we could go to like the local YMCA, shoot some hoops and stuff, just to get us out of the house. He met some chick that was at the YMCA, and then later on that night, that man jumped the fence and met up with that chick, and then he got put out after that. He was gone.
Did you guys know he was gone, or did you guys just get informed the next day?
I think there might have been a couple of guys that knew. I didn't know until we had a meeting and production was like, yo, Jeremy Jackson is no longer on the show. Mm-hmm. But they did bring him back for the finale though.
Bro, have you ever looked into his case?
Not too much.
All right. So they had a juror, a female, that went to the news crying, saying, this dude, okay, so it's a rape case against this old lady. Like, him and his old lady been together for years and years and years.
Yeah.
She hits him with the case. He takes it to trial. right before he's supposed to get like sentenced or find out the jury verdict, he goes, fuck it, I'm out of here. Give me that guilty piece. I can't be around here. I don't want anything to do with this. The lead juror went to the news like in tears saying, we had him innocent. We don't know what this is about.
Wow. You know, he never told me that when because I used to write him. I used to write him early on. I mean, we didn't really talk about much about the case.
He's getting out soon. He's still there, bro.
Yeah. It's good for him. That's crazy.
You know what I mean? Like, dang.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, you look at your opponents, the Ultimate Fighter, you got both guys that made it to the finale, a rematch with Lytle, and then you got Matt Serra. You're going to be counting the lights. You knew they weren't swinging with you.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And, you know, for me, I was just, you know, it was just because I almost declined the offer to be on the Ultimate Fighter 4 simply because I hadn't done MMA in 2 years. I had been kickboxing the last 2 years, so I wasn't training for MMA.
You'd be a better coach than you would have.
Yeah. I was doing kickboxing. I was enjoying my time doing kickboxing around the world for the last couple of years. I was like, yo, man, I ain't been doing no MMA training. I said, but the exposure that I'm about to get is going to be second to none. So, you know, just go ahead and do it. But yeah, I was initially going to tell them no. Like, nah, I ain't been doing no mixed martial arts training.
You trained with Andy Wang as well.
Little bit.
Okay, he posted about it. Like he made I found a couple social media posts.
Really?
Where he was like, dude, Pete Spratt's legit. Like, don't let that stand-up stuff fool you. Like, his ground game is legit. Did you have trouble putting it together, like in the ring? Or was it just something
No. So, type of person I am, I'm not going to let somebody else tell me what I need to do for me to get better. That's the stubborn part of me.
Okay.
So whenever people would tell me, you need to do this, you need to do this grappling, you need to, man, I ain't listening to you. I'm going to do this the way I want to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I was back then. So if I had maybe one regret, I would have dove deeper into the grappling part early on in my career. But, you know, I was stubborn, like, no, man, whatever, screw that, man. Real men stand up. That's a saying I came up with. Real men stand up. I'm not going to be laying around with you in your pajamas, man. So that's just kind of where I was at that particular time. And, but I did, you know, I do have a purple belt under Rodrigo, so.
Andy Wang went online. This is years ago. I found this thing buried in a YouTube comment going,
what?
I don't want
crazy.
He's like, I don't want to say who he was rolling with. I think it was Guy Mezger. And he goes, Pete Spratt is legit.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, the UFC, you know, Jeremy Jackson, he quits via neck injury. You got Marcus Davis, Tandem McCrory, TJ Wahlberger. No, TJ Wahlberger's after. After Tandem McCrory, you said you had issues with Joe Silva.
Yeah. So after that fight, because I was on the same bus with him going back to the hotel. So after that fight, what did he say to me? Like I'm cracking, like I almost have Tamden out of there. Right? Like I'm grounding, pounding him, I'm beating him up.
Tandem's Team Bomb Squad, John Jones, like legit camp at the time. Okay.
Yeah. And so he says to me, you shouldn't have went to the ground with him. Bro, I was beating him up on the ground. Like, what are you talking about? So he just, and that was the last interaction I had with Joe Silva, because in my mind I'm like, man, screw you, man. I ain't got nothing to say to you. Matt. But yeah, it was.
He got comfortable with people.
Yeah, man.
A little too comfortable.
Yeah. And I was like, really? I'm like, did you not watch the fight? Did you not see how many times I dropped this dude and was just beating him up? Like, he was Tamplin said it himself. He didn't remember part of that fight because I had him out of there.
He's also 8-0, hot from a super hot gym.
Yeah.
And the prospect that they're putting horses behind. So it's not as if, like, he might say you should have went to the ground. They didn't want you to win that fight anyway.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just a fact.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. So yeah, man, it was great. I think I was training with I started training with Mark Delagrati and Kenny Florian at that particular time.
Yeah, they were in your corner.
Yeah, I hooked up with them after the Ultimate Fighter.
Let's close with this. You kind of bounced around after that. What was your experience like with Mark Pavelich and the MFC out in Canada?
I have a great relationship with Mark, man. It was good. We still keep in touch to this day. I've done his podcast a couple of times. Like we had one issue. We worked it out. And then after that, Mark and I have been cool ever since. Yeah.
Ryan Ford.
We're two. Yeah. We're two bullheaded people, and we bumped heads. Like, I want to say it might have been my first fight that we bumped heads a little bit on something.
Yeah, I tell you what. Then a 14-hour flight with 2 layovers.
Yeah. That's right.
That's what it was.
Yeah, so we bumped heads on that shit, but then after that, man, we were cool. I have a great relationship with that guy, man. If he still had a promotion, I would have all my guys fighting for him.
That's cool. Yeah, you had issues. Your corner got turned around. You always had issues.
Yeah, I fought forward. I fought forward with no corner. I want to say both times I fought forward, I didn't have any of my people with me. I fought Demi Deeds with none of my people with me. I had
So Demi he's a biker. I think he's from Iowa. Definitely ran. The cop came down the street. He's hiding. That's Demi for sure. Demi Deeds.
That's crazy.
Come on, bro. I'm from the Midwest, man. Demi's a cool cat, but he's an outlaw.
Yeah,
he's an outlaw.
Yeah.
A lot of guys. It's a sport, man. It is what it is.
Yeah, man. It's good stuff.
Pete, your career is like, it's absolutely fascinating. Like, it really is. Like, when you look at like TJ Wahlberger, that guy retired by 25. Like, he was one of those hot prospects as well.
Yeah.
Got to a certain level, and then he goes, you know what? I'm just going to open up a gym. You fought a ton of guys that people put money into thinking that they were going to be a world champion.
Yeah.
Robbie, a lot of them. George St. Pierre, Matt Serra. I mean, even Chris Lytle falls in that category.
Yeah, man. Like, my resume with some of the people on my resume is crazy. And for me to be out there like the outlaw that I was, I'm fighting all of these dudes with no corners. I'm fighting all of these dudes, you know what I'm saying, by myself, you know what I'm saying? But that was just the type of person I was, man. I was going to get out there. I was going to bring it. I was going to fight my ass off, whether I had a corner or not. I was just going to do it. And if I lost, I lost, man. I'm not dead. So a loss ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. It is what it is.
Pete, you ever want to come check out a bare knuckle fighting championship? Did I work for them? I'd love to have you out, man. Absolutely love to have you out.
I'd love to come check it out, man. For sure.
I think back in the day, if Karate Combat existed or even bare knuckle, I'm not sure you'd be in the UFC. I think you'd be a superstar in one of those two other organizations.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Pete, absolute pleasure. I'm going to keep in touch. Doors open if you want to come to a BKFC or not.
All right, brother. I appreciate it.
Take care, man. Thank you for your time.
All right, you too, man. All right.
Check out the full interview on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms.